Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are back with the founder of Just Commit Coaching. Yes, Jennifer Chapman joining us here live once again. Welcome back today. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jill. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well too. Thank you. Getting closer
Good.
to the holidays. You got that stress, that angst, that Christmas shopping. Like, oh my goodness, there's so much to do. But it adds an extra energy level to me, heightened awareness, but also excited for that. What about yourself? How's everything with you, your family?
Yeah, a little bit similar. Luckily, we're at this phase in life, I think, where luckily I don't let the stress of shopping get in the way. 'Cause nobody's really, we don't exchange a lot of gifts like we used to, right? It's more about just kind of let's spend that quality time together, which is nice. It kind of takes the pressure off.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm in
Thank
the
you.
5 and 7 year old stage. So yeah,
Oh.
Santa has to, yeah, produce. So let's talk a little about what you do, if you don't mind sharing with our listeners. It's justcommitcoaching.com. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and of course the company?
Yeah, thank you. So I founded Just Commit Coaching really at the tail end of 2020. Before that, I was in corporate sales for 16, 17 years. And 5 years ago, while I was in corporate sales, I suffered a stroke. And I was 34. And so life really changed for me. And after physical recovery, after a few months and trying to figure out like, okay, corporate sales is no longer fulfilling for me. I pivoted. I had to kind of shift and kind of figure out what is going to be fulfilling for me. Let me still go ahead and find I wanted to find the purpose behind all of this, truthfully. And so I hired a life coach and did a lot of work with her and for myself, and knew that something bigger was probably on the horizon, but timing is everything. And so, really, during COVID was really the time for me, right, to dig in and dive deep into my own personal growth and development and really birth this company that I've created to now help other women, high achieving women that really feel like maybe right now they're just surviving, but they want to get to thriving. They want to know that there's more on the other side, but right now they maybe just feel stuck or lost or depleted.
And let me ask you, a lot of us feel stuck, depleted, especially now around the holidays more than ever. Could you share some types of things that you're working on with your clients to help them get through? Is there a lot of anxiety with the holidays? Is it, would you seeing an uptick in that?
Yeah, I think it's elevated right now for sure. A lot comes up for people around the holidays, depending on what has happened in the past around the holidays, whether it's loss or grief or just an estranged relationship that maybe you used to have. Just a lot of things come up for people. And so that is definitely brings on like a heavier weight that they carry around on top of feeling the pressure of having to do so much for so many other people, right? Get the house ready, get the gifts, make sure everything is the way it needs to be. But really, women put themselves last. And that shows that it's very prevalent in that. And it's really, for me as a coach, allowing them to give themselves permission to put themselves first, because I help them hopefully bring a clarity and understanding that you have to fill your own cup first. What is it full of right now? Because whatever it's full of right now, that's what's going to be poured out onto your family, your kids, your spouse, your coworkers, right? So it's really giving themselves permission to fill their cups up with whatever that looks like, and it can look different for everybody, but really making sure to they are okay without shame or guilt, to give themselves a little bit more time and freedom to tap it, to what is help them boost their level of energy.
And yeah, you want to feel good. You want to, this is the time of year. It's hard though, because you start lacking in certain areas. And I know a lot of the stress we just talked about, but even in the production and being productive, and then you go into the new year with all these expectations. And I always find that, like, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I feel they don't work. I think you should start now. But there's all things we want to change, and we just kind of think about them around this time of year. And, I would like to work out. I would like to spend more time with my kids doing productive things. All these things on a list, but why can't we start now? And I have like at my house, I have some post-its up in my bedroom that I look at every night, and I want to pull them off. I haven't pulled them off in a while, but there's things that I see that I want to pull off. It makes me feel better, if I clean the attic, clean the garage, those have come off. But the long-term goals of
Mm,
the stuff that requires the work are still up there. I'm stuck because I'm not
yeah.
making the time for them. Why? Because it's hard, right? It's hard to change. It's hard to, but you have to because I'm sick of looking at those post-its, and that's the way I do it. I put my goals up, and that way, and I remove them. I feel good about that. Do you recommend, any like vision boards, or how do you recommend to your clients what they want to achieve? Any suggestions what we should be doing? I mean, obviously, besides contacting you, we got to get started on paper. What is it that they want? Do you ask them to write it down, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's true. It's different for everybody what has worked for them in the past. Writing everything down doesn't always work for everybody. But it's figuring out what works, and it's also figuring out it doesn't all have to happen at once, right? Don't look at the top of the mountain and know that that's where you want to get, because that's immediately overwhelming. Like, oh, I have these 15 post-its on my wall. I'm going to knock out all of them in the next 30 days. And then how do you feel? A little bit overwhelmed, probably,
Yeah.
and like, oh my gosh. But I start small. Start where
Yeah.
you are. Take one step, right? One small step a
Mm-hmm.
day. There was a book that my that my sales manager in corporate, I he was such a great leader. And one thing he shared with us that I learned first professionally and now personally is
Oh,
just be 1% better
yeah.
today than you were
Yeah.
yesterday. That's
Mm-hmm.
that book is it's a John Gordon book, I believe, called one. I think it's 1%, something like that.
Interesting. All right. And just
Powerful.
remind everyone, justcommitcoaching.com. Go to the website and you can reach out to Jennifer there with any questions. Also, you offer workshops. Do you have anything coming up that you want to promote? Anything this week, next month? Tell me what's happening in your world of coaching.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm co-hosting with another coach here, a small women's group. So it's an 8-week coaching program where we meet virtually every week for an hour. I think there's a break midway through. So we'll go 4 weeks on, 1 week off, and then the other 4 weeks to really help support each other in community, because that's what we find works for a lot of women. Not everybody. I obviously offer one-to-one coaching as well to do a deeper dive. But a lot of women, I'm finding they just want to know that they're not alone in
Yeah.
what they're going through. Anything that they say, anything that comes up, anything they're thinking, once they say it out loud, most of the time you see more than one other person kind of nodding their head, right? Like they feel that,
Yeah.
they understand that, they've been there. And that's a lot of, I mean, it may be cliche to say, but they just want to be seen and heard and not judged when they say it. And that is a powerful responsibility on my behalf, is to know that I'm here to hold space for you. It's a safe space for you to explore, process, get some clarity on, feel some love, feel some compassion for yourself. And so we are launching a small group program the second week of January, that I can send details through on how to sign up and explore more of that.
Awesome. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
thank
And,
you.
let's see, we're here at the holidays. There's a lot of people that also could benefit with, improving themselves. But the one thing that you have to realize is that you have to want it yourself. So if you know someone out there that wants to change something, it's a great gift to, you don't want to force someone to get a coach, but like, they're talking about trying to make a change in their life, they're having some trouble. It's not a bad thing because yeah, my values, my thinking of gifts have changed over the year. When I was younger, I wanted clothes, I wanted jewelry. Now I want more like peace and harmony and those cheesy things that people say, but you want to better yourself. I want to better my kids' lives. I want to, if you want to do for others, it's different. But I'm just thinking as a gift to
Yeah,
work with someone. Do you offer that like a gift card or
that's definitely what we have promoted within our language. As far as who we've already kind of sent out there, promoted it on, on social media, is yeah, ask for this as a gift for you for Christmas, or if you feel like you want to support someone else,
mm-hmm.
offer it as a gift, or your employer helps support you in something like this and makes an investment in you.
Yeah,
Because that's what I'm seeing more and more these days, is not only will help support you in providing you sales and leadership training and
it'll be.
coaching, but also whole being coaching, overall wellness. How can we best support you and let this be an added benefit to your to you as a whole person.
Yeah. All right. And what else with Just Commit coaching would you say stands out? The work you do, how you're helping people. What did you want to share with us today?
So one of my passionate topics that I love to speak on, and most every time I speak on it, bits and pieces of it land for others and it resonates with them. And so I'm extremely passionate about what victim mentality
Mm-hmm.
means, what it sounds like, what it feels like, um, and how to change that, how
Yeah.
to empower others to what I call embrace your inner warrior.
Mm.
That is my core message. I believe all of us have an inner warrior in us, and it can look different for everybody on what that is, but or it's buried or it's they're not ready for that part of them to show up. But that's where the magic is. That's who your true authentic self is. And something potentially has transpired in your past where you've let that take over who you're meant to become. So I
Yeah.
love talking about what victim mentality is. It stems a lot of time from past trauma that someone has not dealt with, or something in their past. Trauma is a big word, and there's a variety of definitions for trauma, but something in your past that is unresolved or unhealed, you've not dealt with it, is going to continue to show up in your future, whether you're conscious of it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, or whether you're ready to change it or not. That's mostly why victim mentality shows up for people.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. Now you got
Or
me
like,
thinking.
yeah, I mean, it's a very core story for a lot of people, right? It potentially has developed by the time we're 7, 8, 9, depending on what you've learned from your outer world, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
parents, society, culture, friends, however you were treated as a child. So
Right.
many of those stories are going to show up as an adult, whether you're aware of them yet or not. And that's part of the work that I do with clients. Is first step is always awareness. Some people are aware of these limiting beliefs or these stories they tell themselves or these blocks. But once we become aware of it, once you can see it, you can change it.
Seeing is believing. And let's
Mm-hmm.
remind everyone how we can reach out to you since we're halfway through.
Yeah, thank you. So my website is justcommitcoaching.com, and that's where you can schedule a complimentary clarity or coaching session with me to kind of understand a little bit more about what coaching is and what it can be for you individually. I'm also on LinkedIn every day. From a professional standpoint, a lot of my content resonates for because at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
right, we're all human beings. I don't care if you're a CEO, president, founder, HR, tech, whatever it is. At the end of the day,
You
I'm
are.
talking to you as a human.
Love it. Thank you again. Also, Jennifer Chapman joining us here live, Just Commit Coaching. Is there anything else that you want to share? I don't want to keep asking the same things. Do you have any stories you want to share? Anything to inspire us to empathize with why maybe someone out there is tuning in today and then realize, maybe they could use some coaching. They can get the free guide on the website. I know that. They log right in there and just type it in. But what other benefits from coaching are to come? You can share some stories or experiences, but I know from those that have been coached, a lot of people, you're not alone anymore. You have, I bet you a lot of your clients become your friends. I have a life coach who became my friend. She lives in New Jersey too. We've never met in person though, but she helped me a while ago with the work situations and helped me through some struggles. And
Mm,
anyway, I became her friend. But it's good to know that you are not alone and not everybody has someone to lean on. And then the other part of that is you don't want to go to your best friend or your parents
yeah.
sometimes to ask to help because they might not give you that non-judgmental, that non-biased advice, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
A year after my stroke, like physically, I was doing really well, but mentally and emotionally, I was battling. I was really struggling. I was crying every day, transparently. I was working
Uh,
in corporate sales, still trying to work at the highest level I could, but I would cry in my car every day.
yeah.
And my friends and family, I have a really great support system, but they could only take me so far. And I had tried therapy first, and that got me to a certain point too. But that, like you had mentioned earlier, like you have to have the want and the will to want to keep exploring and be curious and open to know that I want to continue to heal here. I know I just don't want to stay here anymore. And that's when I reached out to my life coach for the very first time. And we worked together for probably 8 months. And
Wow.
what she helped me discover was the why behind it,
Mm-hmm.
behind, not only having my stroke, but my story kind of comes full circle. And I don't know if I've mentioned to you this before, but losing my mom at a young age, we were the same age. So she passed away at
Yeah.
34. I had my stroke at 34.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't process it, right away, but a year after it like hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I was the
Wow.
same age as my mom. And so really tapping into understanding that this happened for me. Everything that happens to you happens for you. You have to be willing to know that there is a lesson there to be learned. You're not, and that's a part of the victim thing. Part of the victim world is not questioning why me, but
Mm-hmm.
why not me.
Yeah.
It was a powerful lesson, and something I help my clients with is understanding your why. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you get up every day? Why do you get out of bed? Why do you do what you do? Why do you say yes to certain things? Why do you say no to certain things? It's going deeper than really just saying yes or no, right? How
And why
when
do you
you're
say
ready to,
yes to things that you don't want to do?
right? Who are
The
you trying to
guilt of or the
satisfy?
yeah, pleasing someone else. It really, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Step back into your power. And if you want to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And their response to your saying no is not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
Easier said than done. I understand,
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
understand
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But what again, it's like what you said earlier, like choosing your hard here. What's harder? Saying yes and not really wanting to do it, or really feeling a little bit guilty because you said no, but ultimately you've got your freedom because you
Yeah.
didn't really want to go anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So
Totally.
it's powerful lessons there, simple but powerful.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the books that you read, the Owning Your Past, Changing Your Future. What is it?
Yes.
Owning Your
Yeah.
Past and Moving to the Future. So the
Changing your future. Yeah.
was
Owning Your
it?
Past, Changing Your Future by Dr. John Deloney.
See, I don't remember that part, but yeah, you got to
Yeah.
own it, and
Accept it, accept all of it.
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people maybe don't understand exactly what the ego means, or the
Mm-hmm.
ego part of us. We maybe heard it when we were younger, right? Like somebody has a big ego, but the ego is it's the ultimate protector. It's maybe why, there's, if self-doubt shows up for me, it's understanding that there's this part of me that's really just trying to keep me safe and protected from potentially a risk that I'm going to take or
Yeah,
want to take. And it's not only acknowledging that and seeing it, but saying, okay, I see you. I understand why you showed up for me, but I'm going to put you in the back seat and I'm still going to go ahead and drive my own car. I'm not going to give you the keys to my car today.
yeah, yeah. And now, I know you recommend you have a 12-week program that, what is the process like? Because people might say, I'm too busy, I don't have the time. Tell me the process of what it's like. You have your initial conversation. Then what are
Yeah.
the steps we need to take to start changing? You're meeting on Zoom, you're talking how many times a day? Is there worksheets involved? What can someone expect knowing that to make a change, this is what I have to do, A, B, C, D. I'm like the connect the dots person. So how would you describe it?
Yeah. So a 3 month program with me looks like 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So we're meeting for 60 minutes a week. And then there's 1 week off to kind of integrate what we've learned. But
Okay.
within each week, after our 60-minute call, there may be a little bit of homework to do, to start to kind of understand why you're here and where do you want to be? Where do
Yeah.
let's get the whole goal in 3 months or 6 months is like, we want to get you from point A to point B. What does that look like? Where are you now? And
Yeah.
what do you know about yourself that could get in your way of
Yeah.
getting to point B? So we do a dive into that, and really explore also understanding how great you already are. A lot of women struggle with really understanding what makes them great without tying it to anything, right? A lot of, especially high achieving women, tie it to their success or tie it to
Uh,
outcomes of things. Like I feel really great because I sold this much this month,
yeah.
or I'm in the top 3 sales of the company, or whatever that. I mean, I used to be a high achiever,
I. Mm-hmm.
but it's really tapping into your inherent worth, knowing that you're worthy if you don't do anything else today, or that you're worthy without having the title of president or, you're on the C-suite level, whatever that is, that does, not tying it to what
Well,
you do.
I find a lot of people do this, and it took me a long time to figure it out. I never really did it, but I was in their league of not understanding it too. Let me explain. When you meet someone, I now, and I'm going to just say it, I hate it. Like I'm, hi, Harry, nice to meet you. Tell me, I'm an attorney, I'm an engineer,
Mm,
I'm a this. It means nothing to me. I'm a doctor, but the way they say it, it's like they find their identity in their occupation.
yes.
And I used to, I was never that way, but I know people who are that way. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, I'm chill. Yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up here. I have this siblings, I have these kids, I have this. And the one thing I never talk about is my career because it doesn't define me, but so many people, and I found this out with COVID because then everyone lost their job. And the people that were always bragging about the jobs all of a sudden had nothing to brag about. And I have a
Mm,
friend who kind of realized, I'm like, yeah, you're always that guy to talk about your high income job that you made money investing at Ernst and Young or whatever it's called. And it was really annoying. I told him as a friend, I'm like, you to lead with that in a conversation. I think that's another issue because it was insecurity and other aspects, but that doesn't identify you. Your job you have, it's not permanent. Nothing. Who are you? I
yes.
am, I'm a playful person. I like playing sport. I'm like, I am a fun person. I am a kind of a serious person. I like reading books. I want to know about people, but I feel like a lot of people identify themselves the wrong way. And it's just to me, just a word of advice out there. I mean, and as a coach, you're more of an expert on this, but you a lot of us define ourselves by what we do. And I
Oh,
just don't think that's right. I feel like people need to be more honest with themselves, and that's not you. You are who are you? Who's your core? Who's the soul that's in this shell of your body? But yeah, and I feel like really it limits you, and it makes you think that career is like here, and it should be like I want to know you. I don't want to care what your job is. I don't care how much money you make. That's just don't talk about those things. Tell me who you are. And a lot of some people I know lost that, and
mm,
little more down to earth now became, oh, it's not about what I am. It takes a lot while to learn, but I don't know. It's always bothered me about people. And I feel like, yeah, I'm just going to shut my mouth now. You could talk. Am
oh,
I
I mean,
saying
that
something
was,
too mean? Like, but no. Do you
no, it's
find
not.
a lot of people
It's,
when you meet them, oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm not, I'm this. And I'm just like, that's why I would never be like that. It's annoying to have people, it's kind of like bragging. And then for people who
mm,
don't have a great job or don't have a great income,
mm,
they're so I just find that they're like kinder, like nicer, like I'm this, I'm a mom, I'm this. Like I don't know. It's just something that I just wish we could stop debranding ourselves. What's the word? Well, we're relating ourselves to our income and our jobs.
yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. It's like it's one of the most powerful questions we can ask as coaches or as human beings is when, if I ask myself, and this was the first question we asked at a recent women's retreat we hosted here in Indianapolis. The first worksheet we handed these women, the top of it said, who am I? That's it. So then we gave them a couple minutes and I had them share.
Uh,
But I was so curious what they were going to say. And of course, a lot of it initially started with the roles. It's a role identity thing. They tie
yeah,
their roles to their whether it's I'm a mom, I'm
mom
a
or
spouse, right? I'm a daughter, and then my title of my job. I'm and versus saying I'm authentic, I'm empathetic, I'm funny.
I'm silly.
Really, yeah.
I'm mean or I'm bitchy or I'm, like just be own it. Yeah, it's weird. We as a society we tie ourselves to that. That's interesting. You did it at the workshop.
Oh yeah, we do because that's a great starting point. It's great for women to see like, yeah, I am not my job. I may be good at it, but that's not who I am at my core. Who
Hmm.
are you at your core? And it's such a great first step, whether I'm doing a one-to-one coaching session or in a group setting, to ask that powerful question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people like I used to interview celebrities for a living. And everyone thinks that's so cool and great. But you know what? I
Mm,
feel so bad for them because it's not all what you think. And everyone thinks you're something that you're not. And you're an actor, you're a singer, you're whatever, a performer. Oh, it looks great on the outside. But you know how many of those people are so miserably unhappy and they're just normal
yeah.
people and people don't see through that and they judge them for the wrong reasons. And I've always had this whole stigma with it. Like people always ask me, oh my God, what is so and so like? What is so and so like? I'm like, normal. I mean,
Right.
they go to the bathroom, they eat just like us. What do you mean? I said, stop looking at people at their job. So what about my friend who's the plumber? Why is he any less than Brad Pitt? Like stop and think. We're people at the core. We got to start valuing and loving ourselves for who we are and not our identity of what we do, what people think we do.
Yes.
And yeah, that's why it's like, how could that celebrity have this drug problem or lose all that money or do this? They're human. They have problems too. And it's probably worse at the top like that, all the stress and anxiety that goes with it. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on a rant today, Jennifer.
Oh, I loved it. It's very well said. And I hope somebody heard that today, that make them think.
But you then, like at the conference, and you'll make them aware of that, like identity, like in a sense where that's great. We can be that, but there's more to us than our role or our job or our. Yeah.
Or even being a stroke survivor. Like that's something that happened, but I'm not going to let it define me. It was a definable experience and moment.
And it's so part of you. And of course, your essence and your core and your story and your journey. My goodness. Yeah. That's what you wouldn't start off by saying that. Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think thank you for letting us express that today, because it's one of the most powerful questions you can ask somebody.
What do you ask? What do you ask your clients the first thing when you sit down with them?
What are you celebrating today?
Wow, that's one you don't hear too often.
No.
And they're probably shocked, like, what? I thought you're supposed to ask my problem or what's wrong or what's lacking,
because that's what the first thing they're going to go to. If I ask, how are you today? How's it going? They could immediately jump into like, well, it's raining outside today, or I didn't have a great meeting this morning. They're going to, our brain, that's the ego part. It's that part of our brain is immediately going to go to what isn't great, what's not going well, what I didn't do today. Yeah. What are you celebrating today? That's a powerful question, because then it makes somebody think, like, it gives me chills to think about, because it is a great question. And I used to get asked that by a coach, and it immediately like boosted my spirit, boosted my energy level. It got me excited to talk about, I am going to celebrate. I'm celebrating this today. I celebrated that I had lunch with a great friend today, or, that I moved my business forward by a little bit. Who cares if I did or didn't, honestly? What am I celebrating as a person, and not, again, tied to the role that I play?
Exactly. Well, by the way, we're out of time, so I gotta say goodbye to my friend who is a coach, but she's more than just a coach. She's more different titles. I can call her Jennifer Chapman. How can we reach you?
Reach out to me, Jennifer at justcommitcoaching.com. Or also I'm on LinkedIn, Jennifer Chapman, or just go to my website and please book a call. I love connecting with other human beings that are all about personal growth and development.
Beautiful. Thank you for the great conversation today. And
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.